So we ended up watching Wolfman.
Woof, woof.
It's directed by Lee Winnell, which a little bit of trivia is that our first date we went to see The Invisible Man. That was directed by Lee Winnell. That was his last movie, I believe. And it was really good. I thought it was great.
It was also my first horror movie.
Your first ever horror movie?
In theater.
How many horror movies have you seen since?
Since that, it's just a bunch of horror movies after horror movies.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this, especially you did such a good job with Invisible Man. And I'm like, sure, take another Universal monster and make a good movie out of it. And it stars Christopher Abbott, Julie Garner, and Matilda Firth. So, yeah, I mean, what do you think of it? Yeah.
It was fine. It was like...
That was just fine. Okay, what do you think of The Invisible Man?
Invisible Man was great.
Okay.
Especially like the ending was great. You know how did she wear the invisible suit at the end and killed him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was great. This one is just it's really fine. I don't feel the need to see this movie in theater after seeing it.
I'll talk about what I liked real quick and see if you agree. I liked the beginning with his father and everything. I thought it was a good tense.
A good setup.
Yeah, a good setup. And it's like 30 years later, we're in a city. And yeah, it just follows the son. And yeah, I thought surprisingly this movie was boring. Because
it didn't really go in much deeper into the relationship between the father and son.
Well, you get a little taste of it because I don't know, something about it didn't really bring it up because this movie, it doesn't like dive into stuff like
at all.
His relationship with his father. You know, his father's strict. He is trying to protect his son, but he takes it too far to where his son resents him. That's basically it. Probably something happened to the mother or whatever. They don't go into it though.
There wasn't a mother in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, you could just assume that or something.
Assume the mother wasn't around.
Yeah, and then he seems to have that in his dad a little bit. Like he's trying to protect his daughter, like the grown son, you know.
Yeah.
And then they live in a city. His wife's a journalist, and then he finds out they officially declared his father dead because he went missing, and then they have to go back to the house to, you know, get rid of all his shit, all his dad's shit.
Wasn't much in there.
But yeah, it's just like a lot of setup from there. Like it took its sweet ass time to get to the werewolf action. I think.
Yeah, but like I think even in the very beginning, he saw a werewolf through the lens of the gun, right? That was a man wolf.
Yeah, that was 30 years before with his dad.
Yeah.
And then he sees a wolf on the road and he crashes a car. And the car crash is really cool looking. Like there's some moments in this movie that it just like slid on its side the whole time. And there's some really cool visual moments like that in the movie. And like so it's very much, I think, a body horror movie.
Yeah.
Where he's slowly turning into a werewolf.
Kind of like The Flies.
Yeah, not as good as a fly though.
Oh, of course not.
There's he's got Wolfman vision, that's why I call it, where everything's like bright. He can see like everything's kind of glowing.
Yeah,
everyone's got glowing lights, but he can't understand anyone, and no one can understand him. But yeah, basically, he's slowly turning into a werewolf. It's kind of like body horror in a way, but I think it takes too fucking long, and it's not that interesting really. Like it's like at a certain point, you're like, come on, let's get to the Wolfman.
Like the transition could have just happened. I know that it happened slowly, but it could have just happened in one shot of like nails growing out and like face change. Like,
well, yeah, there's probably a way it differentiates itself from like other werewolf movies, like the classic American Werewolf in London, where it's like one of the best werewolf transformations. But in this, it's like it don't even go by werewolf rules. They turn into a wolf man. They're a fucking wolf man forever, and they live out in the fucking woods killing people.
They're not werewolf. They're wolf man, right?
Yeah, the original wolf man was a werewolf because he only turned into a werewolf on the full moon.
Oh, okay.
Those are werewolf. This isn't werewolf rules.
Yeah.
And so some of my complaints, it tried to be layered. So he's trying to protect his daughter. He's trying to protect his daughter as a wolf man too, because there was the other original wolf man that scratched him, infected him. And then like I said with the mom, like they didn't delve too much into character relationships. Like it seemed like their marriage was kind of strained. It just gave like a little hint of it, I guess. And I guess him like changing into a werewolf is kind of like a allegory for them growing apart or something. There's a lot of stuff in here like that. And then like they juxtapose the mother and the daughter to where in the past with him and his dad, basically like it's like the same thing happened almost. But I didn't care for it too much. Like I didn't hate it. There's some like
it's not complete. It doesn't completely suck.
There's some good things about it, and it's a good like little creature feature. It's probably worth a rental, I think, but you don't need to really go see it in the theater. We saw it in IMAX, and like I don't. Besides some of the like visuals, because it takes place in Oregon, you get to see like the vistas, the mountains and stuff, and then
it's like what you see when you take too much mushroom, and then you're seeing like glowing trees.
That's the Wolfman vision, right? Yeah. So the acting and stuff, it was fine, but I don't know, it's just very mediocre, I think, and I was pretty disappointed after seeing Invisible Man.
Like I feel like this movie got potential. It could have like you said, it's got a good setup in the beginning, and they've got some good actors. I think
Julia Garner because you watched Ozark.
And I like her a lot. I think her acting was really good. But story sucks.
Well, there's not much of a story, and
no, but it was set up to kind of like go into the relationship between his dad and him, and I thought it would like come back to it, especially that his dad actually showed up, later in the movie. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't even like a letter or like a note or anything that like explained like what happened, why his dad was so strict, or it doesn't explain any of it, and it's such a shame that they didn't get into that part. Yeah, and
I don't know. I mean, they're trying to build this as a tragedy and everything, and it just didn't feel right. I like the way like he's like eating on his arm and stuff, and there's a part where he's like chewing to get out of a trap, but things like that, like it showed some balls, but like you said, it wasn't much of a story. I think they tried to just make it a very tense, but I didn't feel very tense during the movie. I felt just kind of bored with it. I think the beginning section was pretty tense, but
how tense? Like the tense, especially for someone like you who like watch a bunch of horror movies, like the tense is not in the visual it's not in the body horror anymore. Like it's gotta have some emotional connection to it.
Well, it's like he's hearing that spider thump around, and then he sees the Wolfman like walking around the house, and I don't know. It just didn't make me feel tense. I just felt kind of frustrated with it. But overall thoughts and final score for this for Wolfman.
Overall thoughts, it's okay. It's a monster movie, and some of the visuals are pretty cool. So it wasn't like completely boring to me. It's still somewhat, I can still sit through it. It's not like I have to. I'm not so bored that I have to leave.
You fell asleep, though.
I did fall asleep at the end. Because, like, dude is fucking full-on werewolf at the time.
Yeah.
I don't really care anymore. Like, how...
You don't care what happens to the wife and daughter?
No.
Okay. Wow.
But they
Cool.
but I know that they likely didn't die because this whole time they didn't die, no matter chased by the OG werewolf or her husband, like they didn't die. So they're not gonna die. That I know. And I don't care about the dude anymore because he is now an animal and he's not coming back. So
Yeah, and I one thing I want to add, I did not care for the Wolfman design. He was just kind of like a mangy half man, half wolf looking thing, and I like my werewolves being fucking giant wolves, but
like Jacob?
no, he's like a wolf. Like I'm talking about a fucking hulking wolf that stands on its legs and stuff, like that type of wolf. But yeah.
Yeah, overall rating is probably like a 2.5. 2.5 out of 5. I think it's halfway there, but it really didn't do much. It didn't do much for me, but
I'm 2.5 too. Like it's kind of mediocre. Frustrated with it, a little bored with it. There's some good things about it. Like I like the body horror stuff. It's just I think I could have went a little further, a little sooner. Like I just grew kind of frustrated for how long everything was taking, and I understand that it's trying to do all these layers, like, you know, how his father, the cycle of anger with him and his father, but then he's turned into a fucking wolf, so of course he's gonna be angry, and then like just the family splitting apart and stuff. I get it, and I think it tried to do a lot with that, but it just didn't.
It didn't hit like at all.
No.
Like it's even hard to interpret that way. With the family stuff.
Yeah, I think it's mostly like a script problem maybe, rather than, or a direction, but like, you know, comparing to The Invisible Man, I think it's fair enough because it's the same director and they're both Universal monster movies. And what he did with The Invisible Man was very creative, very different. This was just very bland to me. So
yeah. Good God. Sometimes I wonder, like don't they have like directors and like writers and many like people talking about this together, and how come they arrive at this?
You know, it's interesting because in studio interference, you never know. But you know, Ryan Gosling was originally supposed to play the main Wolfman in this, but something happened where it changed. Like the script changed or something, and he dropped out of it. But he's still a producer on it. So I'm thinking something happened behind the scenes with the making of this. Like maybe budgetary constraints, because it just takes place basically at a farmhouse, right? In one night. I mean, it's a very distinct like possibility.
A low budget movie. I don't know.
The budget was $25 million. That is a low ass budget.
Like why? But you're someone that created Invisible Man. Now people have high expectation of your work.
Oh shit! Invisible Man is only $7 million, so I don't know. Like that's our review of Wolfman. Let us know down in the comments what you thought of Wolfman. Make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Hit that bell icon for updates of when we post new videos, and make sure to subscribe. We'll see you later. Bye.